Welcome to Whisper of History, where the past speaks softly, and time drifts like candle smoke. Close your eyes. Breathe slow. Tonight, we wander through forgotten stories, not to remember, but to rest. Let history lull you to sleep. You wake before the sun, the village still wrapped in damp, silver mist. The air smells like wood smoke and damp wool, like someone nearby just threw another log on a fire and perhaps forgot their boots by the hearth. A rooster crows lazily in the distance, followed by a faint clatter of hooves on wet cobblestone. You don't open your eyes right away. Not yet. Instead, you listen. Soft sheep bleat in the distance. Someone's cart creaks on uneven wheels. Somewhere behind you, water drips slowly from a crooked wooden gutter, tapping out a sleepy rhythm on a barrel lid. When you finally open your eyes, the sky is still dim, bruised with early blue. Your breath clouds in the cool air. You sit up on a straw mattress, brush straw from your sleeve, and wrap a scratchy wool cloak around your shoulders. It's a bit itchy, but it hugs you like a memory. The fire has long since gone out, but the smell of last night's smoke lingers, sharp, comforting, familiar. You stretch, listening to the wooden beams above you creak in reply. You almost imagine they're sighing along with you. Outside, the village stirs like a heavy sleeper. A dog barks once, then seems to forget why. The wind picks up just enough to rattle the loose shutters of your neighbor's cottage. Somewhere across the lane, a woman begins to hum off-key, but sweet, as she pours grain for her hens. You hear the soft rush of it falling, like tiny dry marbles, as you step out into the chilled morning air. Your boots crunch softly on frost-glazed earth. A figure passes by, cloaked and yawning, carrying a bundle of rushes tied with twine. He nods to you, not really awake, but polite in the way only very tired people can be. You walk toward the village square. The sky begins to lighten, pale fingers of gold brushing the tops of the thatched roofs. Smoke curls up from chimneys like lazy spells. The smell of yeast and rising bread drifts from the bakery near the corner, mingling with the earthy scent of turned soil, and just the faintest hint of something less pleasant. You remind yourself, it's medieval times. Not every scent is romantic. You pass a cart of apples. They shine dimly in the early light, red, yellow, and the occasional wormhole. A sleepy goat bleats and rubs its side against a stone wall, knocking off a loose brick. No one seems to notice or care. In the center of the square, someone's setting up a crooked wooden sign. The letters are wonky, but they spell out something cheerful. Merriment begins at noon. Ale before that. You smile, or try to. You hear church bells in the far distance, like the sky is sighing too. Their echoes drift over rooftops, over misty hills, and into your chest, like something ancient and warm. The village stretches and groans and wakes, not in a hurry, not with any grace, but gently. You take a deep breath. The cold bites at your nose, but it feels good somehow, real, solid. You've arrived at the beginning of something strange, something soft, something slightly absurd, and it's just getting started. You breathe. Slower now. ... Asterisk. A sharp clang slices through the misty calm, then another, then a voice. Far too enthusiastic for this hour, shouts, Hear thee, hear thee. You wince. The village crier. Again. He appears at the far end of the square, bundled in a woolen cape that's entirely too dramatic for the message he's delivering. His bell swings in wild arcs, ringing as though he's waking the dead, or at least trying very hard to. By order of the Baron, he shouts, voice cracking on Baron, the price of onions is now 2 for a penny. Someone nearby groans. A hen flutters indignantly into the air. You step aside as he marches past, already preparing for his next announcement. His boots slap the cobbles with comical authority, and the bell continues to clang. Behind him, like an overexcited spoon banging a pot, he bellows again, also, There will be a bear in the market today. Be advised. A bear that gets your attention. You raise an eyebrow, half amused, half concerned. In medieval terms, be advised can mean anything from stay away to bring snacks. You follow the sound of gasps and shuffling footsteps toward the heart of the square, where villagers have begun to gather like moths to a particularly grumpy flame. There, beside the ale cart, stands a wooden post with heavy chains, and at the end of those chains, a very large, very sleepy bear. The bear blinks slowly, yawns, licks its nose. Two men in leather jerkins stand nearby, clearly proud of the beast. One's holding a stick that's more for show than control, and the other's already offering bets. 5 coppers says he'll catch the chicken in under a minute. The man smirks. You glance at the small, unfortunate chicken, pecking obliviously at a beetle nearby. Poor thing. The crowd thickens. Children giggle. A pair of old women bring folding stools, as if they've planned for this all week. One of them whispers, "Better than last year's goat play." You're not sure what that means. You don't want to ask. A trumpet squawks painfully out of tune, and a boy announces, "Bear baiting shall now commence." He looks about 12, and very proud of himself. The bear, however, has other ideas. Rather than charge at anything, it promptly sits down and begins to scratch its back against the post. Everyone stares. Then, after a long pause, someone claps. Slowly, the bear looks up, entirely unbothered. A few others begin to cheer, half in mockery, half in genuine appreciation. Someone tosses a turnip. The bear sniffs it, then flops onto its side, sound asleep. The crowd laughs. The handlers shrug. Sometimes he's more performer than predator. One mutters, a bit too defensively. You watch for a moment longer. The morning sun finally peeks over the eastern wall, casting warm light across the muddied stones and the thick-furred beast snoozing at the center of attention. Children begin to mimic the bear, flopping dramatically into the mud. Laughter bubbles up around you like warm broth. Odd, strange, possibly unwise, but this, you think, is entertainment. You step back from the crowd, the laughter still echoing, and notice that the village seems a little brighter now. Or maybe it's just you, settling in. The candle flickers low in your thoughts. You drift away from the square, letting the sound of laughter melt behind you like butter left too close to the hearth. Your boots squish slightly in the soft earth. As you walk, yesterday's rain hasn't quite dried, and the air carries a scent of wet hay, chimney soot, and something faintly metallic, not unpleasant, just medieval. A tune reaches your ears, light, fluttering, and just barely off-key. A man stands by a crumbling wall, strumming a lute with the sort of concentration usually reserved for surgery or unscrewing a stubborn jar. His fingers pluck at the strings with the grace of a sleep-deprived goose. A few villagers linger around him, half watching. One girl spins in slow circles, arms out like the world isn't quite heavy enough to hold her down. The musician begins to tap his foot, then suddenly speeds up, and that's when it begins, the dancing. A boy in an oversized tunic grabs someone's hand. A barefoot woman twirls, her dress catching the wind like a banner. You're not sure who started it, but suddenly, it feels contagious. This rhythm, this silliness. Feet slap the ground, hands swing wildly. Someone does a kind of hopping jig that makes you genuinely concerned for his knees. And then, a curious thing. Another joins, then another. Eyes distant, breath ragged. Their steps aren't in time. They single quotes, frantic, twitchy, almost fevered. They dance like they have to. A man stumbles past you, eyes wide, sweat pouring despite the chill. He mutters something about St. Vitus between gasps. The lute player frowns, slows the tempo. It doesn't help. The others don't stop. One woman collapses, giggling, hands twitching. Another picks her up and starts spinning. Dancing plague. Someone says beside you, casually, like it's the weather. Asterisk, you turn to look at the speaker. An older man chewing on a sprig of something green. Back in 37, he continues. They danced for days. Thought it was curses, or moldy bread, or demons. Someone else mutters. Or maybe they just needed a break. The first man adds, chuckling softly. That's life in it. Dance till you drop. You stand very still, watching the blur of skirts, arms, and wild grins. No one seems entirely sure if it's joyful or haunted. Eventually, the dancers slow. Some fall to the ground laughing. Others lean on walls, panting. One lies flat in the mud, arms splayed, smiling like he's seen God, and she told a very good joke. The lute player plucks a final chord and sets the instrument down with a shrug. You move on quietly, the sound of feet on stone still echoing behind you. The air feels warmer now, the mist beginning to lift. And somewhere deep inside, you're not quite sure if you've just witnessed madness or something terribly beautiful. You breathe slower now. The lane bends gently to the left, shaded by overhanging beams and laundry lines that sway like tired ghosts. You duck beneath a particularly low-hanging shirt, stiff with soap, and emerge into a narrow alley where the stones grow darker, slicker, and closer together. There's music again, but not quite the kind you expect. A drumbeat thuds once, twice, slow and heavy, then a shrill pipe whines above it, like a mouse getting into trouble. You follow the sound, ahead beneath. A crooked archway, masked figures swirl and stomp, faces covered in fabric and feathers, some with wooden snouts or strange painted grins. A crowd has gathered around them, all hushed, as though unsure whether this is a performance or a ritual. The mummers. No one ever explains what the mummers' play is about. Not really. Each village seems to make up its own version. You're fairly certain this one involves a talking goat, a noblewoman who's also a fish, and inexplicably, a very confused-looking man dressed as a turnip. The goat character bleats dramatically. The fish lady sings in haunting falsetto. The turnip man simply spins in place, arms out, like he's deeply reconsidering his life choices. The audience doesn't applaud. They watch, entranced. A child gasps as the fish flops backward into a barrel of straw. Someone hiccups, then apologizes to no one in particular. You shift your weight, trying not to giggle. It feels sacred, somehow. Not because it makes sense, but because it doesn't. A rooster mask turns toward you. You're not sure if it's part of the play, but the actor stares, clucks once, then walks away slowly, as if insulted. You decide not to take it personally. The music crescendos, the drum rattles, the pipe screeches, and then suddenly, silence. All the performers freeze. A woman in the crowd sneezes. Someone claps once, then twice. The spell breaks. The masks bow. The crowd murmurs. And just like that, the alley empties. Like a dream being folded back into the pillowcase, you linger a moment longer, eyes catching on a scrap of feather left behind, fluttering in the breeze. Odd. You think, odd and perfect. You turn again into the light, the world tilting softly forward. There's something happening near the edge of the square now, a rhythmic honking. Of all things, you go to investigate. The candle flickers low. Asterisk, you wander from the lively hustle of the market and dancing crowds into a quieter lane, where the soft murmur of laughter and the rustle of fabric guide your steps. The cool, dewy air carries a curious mix of senza, faint trace of roasted chestnuts, the lingering aroma of spilled ale, and the subtle musk of damp straw. Your footsteps slow, as the sound of a whimsical melody weaves through the cobbled passage, drawing you toward a small clearing in the square where the soft light of midday filters in like a secret. There, amid a jumble of colorful tents and patched banners, stands a figure whose presence immediately arrests your attention, the jester. He is a vivid splash of red and gold, dressed in motley and adorned with tiny bells that jingle with every fluid movement. His eyes twinkle with mischief, and his smile seems to hold secrets of centuries past. In his hands, balancing with a grace that belies the absurdity of his task, he juggles not clubs or knives, but a trio of live geese. The geese each, one plump with feathered dignity, their downy white plumage offset by the striking colors of the jester's motley flap and honk with a comic insistence as they twist gently through the air. You watch in amazement as the jester guides their flight with delicate movements, his fingers as nimble as a musician's on a lute. Every now and then, one of the geese veers off course, eliciting a soft cluck of annoyance before being quickly retrieved with a chuckle and a flourish of the jester's hand. The scene is both absurd and strangely moving. You can almost sense that the jester's performance is a tribute to a long-forgotten tradition, a medieval pastime where whimsy and the unexpected provided a reprieve from the hardships of everyday life. Scholars debate the origins of such entertainments. Some whisper that juggled animals were symbols of chaos in a world that craved order, while others suggest these lively antics served as a subtle rebellion against the rigid customs of the time. You smile at the thought that in the midst of mundane daily chores, even chaos had its own kind of beauty. Around you, the crowd has gathered in a semicircle, their faces illuminated by a mix of amusement and quiet wonder. A few children, their eyes wide with delight, try to mimic the jester's exaggerated gestures, staggering slightly as if caught in a dance of their own. The air is filled with soft, intermittent applause and murmurs of astonishment. You hear someone remark quietly, almost in disbelief, that juggling geese might be the pinnacle of medieval showmanship, a remark that brings a gentle laugh to your lips. As absurd as it sounds, the jester, noticing the shared amusement, inclines his head theatrically and produces a tiny, decorated fan from his sleeve. With a swift, careful motion, he fans himself, creating a brief gust that carries a hint of the summer's heat and the spice of nearby herbs. The geese momentarily settle on their feet, as if appreciating the cool reprieve. Their soft honks blend with the ambient sounds of the village, a distant clatter of a blacksmith's hammer, the low murmur of conversation, and the rhythmic beat of a nearby drum that echoes like a heartbeat. In the background, a weathered tapestry flutters gently on a wooden post, its faded colors reminiscent of stories spun long ago. The jester's performance seems to invoke a kind of gentle nostalgia, reminder that even in the most unexpected moments, art and play could weave threads of levity into the fabric of medieval life. You note, with a quiet historical insight, that such forms of entertainment were not merely frivolous. They were subtle acts of resistance, tiny rebellions against the harshness of feudal order, and a way for ordinary folk to reclaim a moment of shared humanity. Time stretches out in this corner of the square, the jester's performance unfolding as if it were a fleeting dream you're reluctant to wake from. Each toss of a feathered friend, every meticulous catch, is a small miracle of balance and humor. The gentle clamor of geese, the soft rustling of the jester's motley, and the faint echo of distant laughter combined into a lullaby of absurdity and wonder. You stand transfixed, drawn into the surreal rhythm of the performance, feeling the delightful absurdity seep into your bones. For a moment, the mundane and the marvelous blend into one, the humble village square, transformed into a theater of dreams and quixotic revelry. You breathe slower now. You leave the jester behind, his geese honking a final fanfare as he bows deeply to a toddler who rewards him with a half-eaten apple. The sound of applause fades behind you like the tail end of a rainstorm, soft and scattered. As you drift back into the winding lanes of the village, you notice a group of villagers, gathering near a muddy patch beside the pig pens. No signs, no music, no fanfare, just the telltale hush that precedes something silly. You pause, drawn by the strange silence that hangs heavy in the air. Then, like a slow-motion boulder rolling downhill, laughter erupts. You step closer. Two grown men, both barefoot, both already caked in streaks of damp brown earth, are circling each other with exaggerated care. One has a daisy tucked behind his ear. The other is trying very hard not to sneeze. Both appear determined to wrestle. This, you realize with a quiet exhale of amusement, is peasant wrestling. There's no ring, no referee, just mud, laughter, and the occasional yelp of a pig who's wandered too close. The men lunge at each other, slipping immediately. One flops forward, landing with a dull splat. The other attempts a triumphant roar, but gets mud in his mouth and spends the next minute spitting dramatically into the grass. The audience loves it. A woman leans on her broom handle, tears in her eyes from laughing. A boy tosses a piece of stale bread like a bouquet. A dog attempts to join in, chasing both men in circles before being scooped up by a cackling elder. You overhear someone mutter, "Better than last year's cheese chase." Another replies, "Only just." There's no score, no clear goal. It's not even obvious who wins. Eventually, both men collapse into the mud, chest heaving and grinning like fools. Someone tosses a bucket of water half-heartedly in their direction. It misses. No one minds you. Smile. It's strange how such rough simplicity becomes a bomb in this world. How something as primitive as falling over in the dirt becomes the highlight of a long week. And yet, you recall from one curious manuscript, yes, a real one, that early medieval folk actually bet on these matches. Not for money, usually. For bread, or turnips, or favors. The winner didn't always win a prize, but they always walked away with the deepest sleep. Maybe that was the prize. Some historians argue peasant wrestling was more about release than rivalry, a way to shake off the endless tedium of farm work and feudal life. Others, more grumpy and academic, insist it was about masculinity, dominance, or demonstrating who could fall most gracefully into a puddle. You lean against a wooden post, feeling the sun warm your back now that the mist has finally burned away. One of the muddy men waves at you, too out of breath to speak. His face is streaked in browns and grays, his daisy somehow still perched behind his ear. You nod back solemnly, like a spectator in a royal box. A pig squeals nearby, a child giggles, and the dog barks triumphantly, having stolen someone's sock. You take a step back from the scene, the air thick with laughter, damp earth, and the dizzy kind of warmth that only comes from something absolutely ridiculous. You close your eyes for a moment, just to listen to the breeze, the soft squelch of bare feet in mud, and the fading echo of carefree joy. The candle flickers low. You continue down the path, boots sticking slightly in the mud, the laughter behind you softening into memory. The village begins to shift again, from wild cheers to quieter murmurs, as if the day itself is slowly winding its way into a nap. A small wooden stage catches your eye. Set beside the blacksmith's hut, a tattered banner flutters lazily above it. Master Ulrich's Traveling Remedies and Public Spectacle. The sign underneath, scrawled in crooked charcoal letters, reads simply, "Tooth pulling at noon." Naturally, you wander closer, drawn by a small crowd gathering like moths around a lantern. There's a hush of curiosity, the kind that always appears when something mildly grotesque is about to happen. Someone hands you a boiled sweet, wrapped in cloth. You're not sure why, but you accept it. On stage, Master Ulrich himself appears, a tall, hawk-nosed man with a crimson cloak that looks suspiciously like a curtain and a belt weighed down by tools that could easily double as torture devices. In one hand, he holds a pair of comically oversized iron pincers. In the other, he lifts a small metal cup as if in toast. "Ladies and gents," he shouts, "prepare yourselves for the extraction of evil." The crowd claps, though some do so nervously. A young man with flushed cheeks, clearly volunteered by someone else, climbs the steps. He sits on the stool with a sheepish smile and opens his mouth, revealing a row of crooked, 50% committed teeth. One, in particular, is the star of today's show, blackened, rebellious, and already halfway to retirement. Master Ulrich peers into the victim's mouth, dramatically pulling out a monocle. "Ah, yes," he says, nodding solemnly, a classic case of the devil's fang. Someone gasps. Probably ironically, Ulrich raises the tongs with flair, strikes a heroic pose, and with a swift motion and a sound you really wish you hadn't heard, yanks the tooth free. The young man yelps. The crowd cheers. A child faints. An elderly woman offers the patient a piece of bread, which he accepts while weeping. The tooth is lifted like a trophy. "May your molars never rebel," Ulrich intones. A woman behind you claps so hard she drops her basket of onions. It's hard to know whether this was medicine, theater, or something in between. Likely all three. You recall, quietly, historically, that in many medieval towns, tooth pulling was considered a public performance. Traveling surgeons were expected not just to heal, but to entertain. Success was judged by how few screams were heard, and how many people clapped. Some even wore masks. One early source refers to them as tooth jesters. You suppose there are worse careers? The young man stumbles off the stage, his mouth stuffed with cloth, and his dignity somewhat left behind. Ulrich bows deeply. "Next," he asks, "you take a slow step backward, very slowly. Just in case. Behind you, the breeze carries the scent of roasted meat and something faintly metallic. The crowd begins to disperse, murmuring about bravery, infection, and where to find more boiled sweets. You make your way toward a quieter lane, head still spinning, slightly, thoughts oddly soothed by the chaos. You don't entirely understand what just happened, but you're strangely glad you witnessed it. You breathe slower now. The lane curves gently, as if inviting you to leave behind the clang of iron pincers and the last muffled whimper of the freshly toothless. The sky has softened, the high noon sun now hiding behind a slow parade of cotton-thick clouds. A breeze carries the smells of hearth fire, roasted onions, and something else, feathers, wet feathers. You hear it before you see it quack. Then another, louder, followed by the unmistakable murmur of excited villagers. Your curiosity tugs at your feet. You follow just past the baker's stall, where someone has stacked bread into an impressively unstable tower. You arrive at a small wooden enclosure. Inside, ducks, at least a dozen of them, big ones, small ones, one with a crooked beak, another with something suspiciously like a ribbon tied to its tail. A man with a scroll stands at the edge of the pen, trying to look official. His hat is far too large, and the feather in it keeps poking him in the eye. "Ladies and gentlefolk," he announces, voice noble but nasal, "welcome to the third monthly duck racing spectacle." A cheer goes up. Not a loud one, but a fond, familiar one. The kind of cheer that says, "Yes, this again." The man begins listing names from his scroll. You realize, with mild astonishment, that these ducks are competitors. There's Sir Waddles, Lady Beakington, Quackamus the Bold, and Egg Salad, the clear underdog. The racetrack, if you can call it that, is a winding path of mud, hay, and carefully positioned cabbage leaves. A small boy waves a carrot on a stick like a flag. The ducks waddle anxiously in their little starting pen, quacking among themselves as if arguing about strategy. Someone next to you places a quiet bet. 3 coppers on Lady Beakington, they whisper. Another replies, she peaked last. Weak. A nearby old man leans on his cane. "I once saw a duck finish this race in under a minute," he says, eyes distant, voice reverent. "She was possessed, possibly by Saint Ursula." The race begins. The ducks hesitate. One of them walks in the wrong direction. Another begins to groom itself. A third, seemingly unaware it's in a race at all, flops onto its side and naps. The crowd roars with laughter. Eventually, 2 of the ducks, Wattles and Quackamus begin to compete in earnest. They wobble down the track, necks outstretched, feet slapping the earth like overcooked dumplings. The cabbage seems to help. You find yourself whispering encouragement. Come on, egg salad, ... And egg salad, blessed, stumbles forward. With slow, determined flaps, it begins to catch up. The crowd gasps. One person drops a meat pie. Quackamus pulls ahead at the last moment, crossing the finish line to thunderous applause and an off-key trumpet blast provided by a nearby child. The man with the scroll lifts Quackamus into the air. The duck flaps furiously, unimpressed by its own fame. The ribbon around its neck flutters in the wind like the flag of a very strange nation. You laugh softly, not the loud kind. The kind that lives in the back of your throat, warming you like cider. Some say duck racing started as a way to teach children about patience. Others say it was entirely accidental, that a bored baker let his ducks loose during a failed bread delivery, and the town just never stopped cheering. You suppose it doesn't matter. The point, clearly, is not who wins. It's that everyone stops, even just for a moment, to cheer for something as gloriously pointless as a waddling contest. The race ends. The ducks return to their pen. One escapes briefly. A child chases it. Someone shouts, "That one's got spirit." Laughter ripples through the crowd again. You turn down a narrow path between stalls, your cheeks warm, your steps unhurried. The smell of cabbage and muddy feathers lingers behind you. The candle flickers low. You wander toward a quieter edge of the village now, where the stalls thin out and the chatter of the crowd fades into soft murmurs, like distant waves. Your footsteps echo faintly against the stones, mingling with the soft creak of weathered wood and the rustle of linen banners barely holding on to their hooks. The breeze carries a whisper of something sweet turnips. Oddly enough, feigned the faint perfume of lavender, crushed beneath someone's passing heel. You turn a corner and find yourself in a shaded nook, where a handful of villagers have gathered, around a table that looks like it's been dragged out of someone's kitchen and onto the street. Its legs are uneven. One corner rests on a brick. A small candle flickers in the center, despite the daylight, as if to add just a touch of theatricality. On the table are turnips, dozens of them, lumpy, dented, slightly wilted, and beside them, knives, some dull, some curved, one so small it could barely cut butter. You approach, drawn in by the peculiar sight of grown adults hunched in quiet concentration over root vegetables. This, it turns out, is turnip carving. No one explains the rules, if there are any, but it becomes quickly clear that creativity is king. One man is carving an angry-looking face into his turnip, tongue sticking out in concentration. A woman beside him has turned hers into something resembling a cat or a bat, possibly both. You pick up a small, soft one. It smells like damp earth and old rain. Your fingers explore its texture, knobbly and pitted, like the face of a sleeping moon. With a borrowed knife, you begin. You don't know what you're carving, just shapes, lines, sleepy curves. You feel strangely peaceful, as if the world has shrunk down to this one small moment, this single root, and the way your hands move across its surface, around you. The quiet chatter hums like a lullaby. I once carved St. George into a beat. Someone says proudly, "Did it look like him?" Another asks, "No idea. Never met him." Soft laughter. A girl proudly holds up her creation, a turnip with crooked teeth and wild eyes. She sets a candle inside it, and the face glows in a way that's both hilarious and oddly unsettling. You admire it all the same. It dawns on you that this tradition, strange, gentle, slightly absurd, may have its roots, no pun intended, in the old customs of warding off spirits. Before pumpkins, before Halloween, there were turnips, rough-hewn lanterns left at the edge of fields, guardians made from the earth itself. Some scholars argue that these carvings were once symbols of protection, scarefaces meant to keep the dead at bay. Others think villagers were simply bored and found humor in giving vegetables creepy grins. The truth, as always, probably lives somewhere in the middle. You finish your own turnip, a sleepy little face, eyes half closed, mouth in a quiet sigh. It looks like it might drift off at any moment. You place it beside the others. It fits right in. Someone lights a few more candles, placing them carefully into the carved roots. The faces glow softly, flickering in the breeze like tiny spirits dozing on the table. The sun begins its slow descent, casting golden light across the village rooftops. Shadows stretch lazily across the stones. A bell chimes in the distance, mellow and hollow. You step back, hands stained faintly purple, the air cool on your cheeks. The scent of cut root, beeswax, and autumnal earth hangs gently in the air. You breathe slower now. You drift farther from the carved turnip lanterns, their sleepy expressions watching you from behind, as if nodding you onward. The path bends, once more narrower now, softened by moss creeping up between the stones. Birds trill somewhere above, their songs light and intermittent, like the sky is starting to whisper goodnight. Ahead, under a large drooping tree, you spot a circle of seated figures, cloaked and still. No torches, no spectacle, just a quiet gathering, their eyes turned downward, some with small pouches in their laps, others with sticks or flat stones laid before them. You pause, letting your breathing fall in step with the hush that surrounds them. There's something reverent about the scene, not religious, exactly. More like the kind of silence that grows from focus. A woman waves you over gently, her fingers ink-stained, her shawl smelling faintly of rosemary. You sit beside her, legs folded beneath you on the cool grass, and she offers you a flat, worn board etched with symbols. Tiny markings, swirls, lines that look almost accidental, until you stare too long and they begin to make a kind of sleepy sense. This is a medieval memory game, or maybe it's a storytelling circle. No one seems entirely sure, and no one cares. One person taps a stick against their board. Another answers by moving a stone to a particular marking. Then a third hums a low note and lifts a pouch, revealing a small dried flower. Placing it at the circle's center, you realize this game is more ritual than competition, part logic, part poetry. It's half about remembering tales long forgotten, and half about making new ones with found objects. Sounds, gestures. You're handed a tiny token, a carved wooden owl with uneven eyes. Your task, you're told in a near whisper, is to offer a memory, real or imagined, truth or dream. You think of something simple, the warmth of the sun on a stone wall, the smell of rising dough, a face that might have smiled at you hours ago. You place the owl gently on the board, and everyone nods in approval, as if you've spoken a full poem. There's an old belief, someone murmurs, that memory used to be stored not in the mind, but in objects. A stone carried for years could hold a laugh. A scrap of wool might remember a sorrow. These circles, they say, helped keep those memories alive, passed between friends, strangers, even enemies, quietly. In moments like this, the sky darkens. Further now, shaded in violets and quiet silver. The woman beside you leans slightly, her voice barely louder than breath. Not many play anymore, but those who do, sleep deeper. You smile, and your shoulders soften. The circle continues. For a while longer, each new token adding to the strange, wordless tapestry. Then, one by one, people rise, bow slightly, return their stones to pockets, their tokens to pouches. The hush lingers. You stand as well, your body light, your heart slower. The carved owl is pressed into your hand with a wink. A gift, the woman says. Let it remember you. You tuck it into your pocket. Somewhere far off, a flute plays. Faint, wandering, you follow the sound, letting it guide you deeper into twilight. The candle flickers low. The path narrows now into something less like a road and more like a memory. Grass sways at your ankles, the color of faded parchment in the moonlight. That gentle flute, distant, haunting, somehow familiar, continues its meandering tune through the trees. You follow, not in any rush, just drifting, as if the night itself is pulling you along by the hand. You pass a small clearing where soft fabric rustles on a clothesline, left out too long. Linen dresses and tunics sway like ghosts with nowhere to go. One catches on a branch and dances lazily before freeing itself, the sleeve brushing your arm like a forgotten thought. The air smells of wood smoke now, warm and sweet, with the faintest tinge of something herbal, maybe thyme or old mulled wine. You turn another bend and see the flicker of firelight ahead. It's not a bonfire, not a hearth, just a ring of coals nestled in a shallow stone pit. Around it, 3 figures sit cross-legged, gently tending to metal wires. You move closer and realize they're crafting charms, small, twisted tokens from iron scraps and old nails, shaped into knots, animals, even tiny stars. You sit, welcomed with a nod. Someone hands you a piece of soft, bendable wire and a worn pair of tongs. No instructions, just a sleepy smile and a shrug, as if to say, make whatever wants to be made. Your fingers move slowly, the fire warming your palms. The wire resists you at first, then yields, taking the shape of a spiral. Maybe it's a snail, maybe it's a sleeping ear. No one laughs, no one questions. In the medieval mind, even nonsense has magic in it. They say, in hushed tones, that some charms were meant to ward off misfortune. Some were sewn into clothes to protect the wearer from bad dreams. Others were simply made for the joy of making idle hands. After all, we're the devil's workshop. Better to give them something silly, soft, harmless to do. You watch as one woman shapes a charm into a tiny goose. Another makes what looks like a tooth. They exchange them, silently, and smile. One man leans toward you, eyes crinkled, voice like a blanket. You know, monks used to make charms like these too. They'd pretend they were bookmarks, but they whispered old rhymes while twisting them. Who's to say? You don't answer. You just nod and keep shaping. The act itself is soothing, like slowly tying dreams into knots. Eventually, the coals die down. One by one, the others stand and leave their charms on a nearby stump. An offering, perhaps, or maybe just clutter. It doesn't matter. You leave. Yours, too. Your little spiral, and it catches the last glow of the firelight, as if winking goodbye. The air is cooler now, the night deeper, silence thicker, but kind. You feel the weight of the evening settled gently around your shoulders. Not heavy, just grounding like a wool blanket over tired limbs. You follow the path again, where crickets begin their sleepy chorus, and your footsteps are barely heard. You breathe slower now. The path opens once more, not into a square or market or alley, but into a quiet meadow, just beyond the last stone walls of the town. It stretches soft and dark before you, the grass damp with dew, catching the moonlight like tiny mirrors. A gentle breeze moves through the tall stalks, carrying the hush of distant bells, not loud, not calling, more like they're singing to themselves. Perhaps from the abbey, far on the hill, where monks in heavy robes breathe in unison, lost in midnight prayer. You take a step onto the grass, and it bends beneath your feet with a soft sigh. The road has disappeared now. There's no destination, and no one left to watch. Only you and the night. Out in the middle of the meadow, you spot a curious shape, low to the ground, round, and woven of reeds. As you approach, you realize it's a medieval listening shelter, a kind of dome, just big enough for 1 or 2 people to sit inside. These were once built by shepherds, or lovers, or, occasionally, scholars looking for solitude. Somewhere, between a chair and a dream, you crouch and slip inside. The walls are made of twisted willow and straw, warm with the day's sun, still clinging to the scent of earth and old rain. Inside, it's perfectly still. The outside world muffled too. A soft murmur, only the wind and insects remain. There's a small wooden shelf in the center, and resting on it, a bowl of stones. Not for games. Just stones, flat, smooth, each marked with a simple line or scratch. Perhaps a monk once used them to remember psalms. Or a girl marked the passing of days until someone returned. Or maybe they were left by people like you, just needing a place to rest. You choose one. It's cool, rounded, fits neatly in your palm, like it was made just for this moment. No one expects anything from you here, not even thoughts. Just quiet, just breath. There's something oddly magical about how little this shelter offers. No music, no performance, no strange medieval pastime, just a silence that listens back. Your head tilts slightly, resting against the woven wall. Through a tiny crack, you see the stars, lazily scattered like grain across black velvet. One falls, slow and bright. You make no wish. You have everything you need right now. You close your eyes. The grass sways. The shelter creaks gently. Somewhere in the distance, a sheep bleats once, sleepily, asterisk. And then, stillness. Your breath deepens. Your body softens. The candle flickers low. Asterisk, the shelter seems to rock ever so slightly with the breeze, as if the night itself is cradling you, not to entertain, not to distract, but simply to keep you company while you drift. You stay there for a while, wrapped in the hush, until your legs stretch again and carry you quietly out into the meadow. The air is cooler now, not cold, just enough to wake your skin while your thoughts remain drowsy. The kind of air that carries dreams gently, so they don't break. Fireflies dance lazily above the grasses. Not many, just a few, scattered like embers that forgot to fall. One lands briefly on your sleeve, blinking once, then lifts off without a sound. You wonder if peasants, in the old days, thought fireflies were tiny wandering spirits, or messages from saints. Maybe they still do, somewhere. You keep walking, slower now, your body moving only because it remembers how up ahead, nestled between two low hills, sits a small structure, almost invisible in the dark. You draw closer and find it's an old medieval bee shelter, the kind that once lined gardens or abbey orchards, shaped like little chapels for bees. The scent hits you before anything else, warm wax, honey, wood smoke. Somehow it still lingers, as if the bees just left a few moments ago. You don't enter. You just sit beside it, letting your back rest against its curved wall. It's comforting, like leaning into the past. You imagine the monks once whispered to their bees. Here, it was believed you had to tell them everything. Births, deaths, the weather, secrets. Bees were family. You smile at the idea. Even the bees had to know. Your gossip. The stars wheel overhead. You hear your own breath, soft and steady, in time with the wind moving through the trees beyond the meadow. A rhythm without effort. Your eyes begin to blur at the edges. The grass becomes a single shape. The hills dissolve into sky. Sleep is coming, but it's not chasing you. It's walking beside you, quietly, respectfully, like an old friend who knows better than to say too much. You rise one more time, slowly, and begin toward a low stone wall on the edge of the field. Just beyond it, the final resting place of the evening. You breathe slower now. Asterisk, the stone wall is low and warm from the day, still holding on to sunlight like an old memory. You climb over it gently, your hands brushing moss, soft as wool. On the other side, the world seems even quieter, if that's possible. The trees bend inward here, forming a sort of leafy cathedral, tall and still and humming with the smallest sounds. You find a narrow trail beneath your feet, winding gently through the grove. Not straight, not hurried, just unbothered. The way a deer might wander, or an old storyteller returning home after the last tale has been told. Along the path, you pass strange little carvings in the bark of trees. Some are initials. Some are symbols you don't recognize. Spirals, suns, a face with too many eyes. You wonder who made them. A bored scribe, a secret lover, a lonely farmer whispering to the trees. Some scholars argue that medieval forests were like libraries, only with living books. Every mark a message, every root a thread in a larger story. You don't question it. You just listen. The trail widens slightly, and you step into a soft clearing ringed with mushrooms, a perfect circle. You've heard of these before. Fairy rings. Some said they brought good luck. Others feared stepping into one might steal your soul away for 100 years. But tonight, you step right into the center. Nothing happens. And yet, something does. The air feels thicker, safer, like a blanket that's just been warmed by the fire. The mushrooms glow faintly in the moonlight, and you sit down, cross-legged. Your hands in your lap, the grass cool beneath you. You don't need to go anywhere now. This is the end of the road. The final game, the last quiet corner of a long-forgotten world above you. The branches creak softly. An owl calls once distant, curious. The moon watches with gentle indifference. She's seen this before, 1,000 times, 100,000. You close your eyes. Your shoulders fall a little lower, and the last thoughts you were holding so tightly begin to slip through your fingers, one by one, like feathers, on the wind, like beeswax melting in the warmth, like laughter echoing down an empty corridor of time. Sleep comes now, not with a bang, not with a whisper, just arrives. The candle flickers low and goes out. Final wind down, and now, there's nothing more you need to do. No more curious games. No more strange facts or old customs. The voices of the past have settled, their stories told, their secrets gently folded away like worn linen in a cedar chest. Your body is still. The room around you disappears. Even the air seems to hold its breath, letting you drift further, deeper. Softer thoughts fade to colors, colors to warmth, warmth to quiet. You are safe. You are still. And the night is long enough for resting. Let sleep take you. Let it keep you until morning or later. Good night. She. You're still here, but only just. There's no need to open your eyes. No need to think. Let the last of your breath slip out slowly, like steam from a cup left on a windowsill. Even time itself has gone quiet now. No ticking, no turning. Just the soft, eternal stillness that lives between one dream and the next. If your thoughts try to return, gently send them walking. Let them take a slow stroll through that old medieval town again. Past the lute players and candle makers. Past the noble fools and dancing bears. All the way to the fields where fireflies float, and nothing matters anymore. You've walked far. You've seen the strange, the silly, the forgotten. But now, there is only rest. Long, kind, heavy rest. You're not falling asleep anymore. You're already there. Sleep deeply, traveler. You're home. There's nowhere else to go now. Nowhere else to be. Even your name feels soft, like it's being wrapped in linen and tucked away for later. You don't need it here. You don't need anything. Outside, the stars continue their slow, ancient drift, but you are no longer watching. The meadow, the forest, the fireflies, they keep watch for you now. Everything is still, yet somehow alive, a quiet world, breathing with you, not around you. Your limbs feel warm and weightless, like drifting leaves on the surface of a quiet pond. Even gravity is gentle now. Even your heartbeat has slowed into a lullaby. Steady, slow, and far away. You did well to come this far, to listen, to wander, to let go, and now you drift. Not forward, not back, just deeper, so deeply. Sleep is not a curtain that falls. It is a door that opens, and you have stepped through it without a sound. Good night. Sleep well. Dream slow. You are safe. You are gone. You are loved. Asterisk, there's nothing left now but the hush. The soft hush that settles over your whole body, like a fog that knows your name, but asks nothing from you. Even your breath is quieter than before, slower, like it's rocking you gently, on some invisible boat, floating down an ancient, silent stream. You don't feel your fingers. You don't feel the room. Even the bed you're lying on feels like part of you now. Like earth beneath grass. Like memory beneath sleep. You are drifting, not through time, or thought, or space, but through stillness itself. The kind that poets try to write about, and only dreams can truly hold. And if there are dreams waiting, they are soft ones, curious ones. The kind that smile and step aside when you approach, letting you wander just a little farther into the warm dark. There is no next moment. There is only this one, and it is quiet, and it is yours. Sleep now, completely, utterly, wonderfully, gone, asterisk, and still, you drift. Even the word sleep feels too loud now. What you're in, what you've entered, is quieter than that. It's the space beneath sleep, the pause after a breath, the hush after the last note of a lullaby. You are not thinking anymore. You are not waiting for sleep to come. You are already within it, like a pearl inside its shell. Safe, still held in place by the weightless dark. No sound reaches you now, except maybe the echo of your own slowed heartbeat, like footsteps on a velvet path, walking farther and farther away. And if a part of you is still listening, just a tiny part, that's okay. It too will fall away soon, like the last leaf, letting go of the branch. There is no hurry. There is no noise. There is no you. Not in the way the waking world understands it, just warmth, and darkness, and endless softness, curling around, your soul like wool. You may dream, you may not. Either way, you are safe. The world is holding its breath, and you are already gone. Good night, dreamer. Rest forever in this moment. Float, sink, disappear, peacefully, entirely, now. And even now, as everything else fades, a final calm settles over you, not as a wave, but as a whisper, like the last candle going out in a stone chapel, not with smoke, but with silence. Your chest rises, slowly, falls, slower still, the rhythm of sleep, perfected. No thoughts remain to chase, no memories tug at your sleeve. All that mattered has been folded neatly away, tucked into the dark like parchment in a drawer. You won't need them here, not tonight, maybe not ever. It's all so distant now, the laughter, the bells, the oddities of that old world. They were only ever meant to guide you here, to this perfect hush, this velvet nothing. Time has lost its shape. Your body has no edges. Even dreams have drifted back, waiting patiently until they're sure you're ready. You're floating, not falling, held, cradled, gone. Let the stillness keep you. Let the dark wrap you in its quiet arms. This is the end of the tale, the end of the breath, the beginning of everything soft. You don't have to listen anymore. You don't have to try. Sleep has claimed you entirely, forever. Now asterisk, there is nothing more to say. Not really, only this. This gentle hum beneath the silence. This soft presence that holds you like moonlight on a windowsill. You've drifted far past memory, past thought, past story. There are no questions left. No what happens next. Only this breath, and then the next. And even that is fading. You are not here anymore. Not in the way that matters. You've slipped between the seams of time, into a place the world cannot touch. A place where nothing is expected of you, where nothing heavy follows. Even your name is asleep now, tucked deep inside your chest, breathing slow and low, like a child beneath a heavy quilt. And if sleep had a color, it would be this moment. If sleep had a sound, it would be this stillness. You are adrift in it, weightless, dreamless, free. Let the night carry you. Let the stars whisper lullabies you'll never remember. Let the dark cradle you like a secret it will never tell. You're gone now, so beautifully gone, and nothing else exists. Just this, just peace. Endless, endless peace. Asterisk she, ... Even the silence is asleep now. Even the stars are breathing in whispers. There is nothing left to guide you, because you've already arrived. Not at a place, but a feeling, a space, a softness. You are a feather in the dark, a single snowflake that never lands, a breath that never ends. No edges, no weight, no more waiting. Even the story, that long, strange, wonderful story has folded itself closed like a worn book left on a wooden shelf, the kind no one needs to finish because the feeling of it was enough. You don't remember the beginning anymore. You don't need to. You've let go of thought, of sound, of self. There's no more continue now, because you are the stillness, you are the quiet, you are the sleep, forever and always. Good night, asterisk, she. It's okay now, truly. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to hear. You've passed the final echo, stepped beyond the last breath of the tale. You are no longer drifting. You are resting, still and deep, beneath everything. Not even the stars watch you now. They've bowed their heads in sleep too. The world outside, all its noise, all its need, has faded into the softest hum, like waves from a shore that no longer reaches you. Even your dreams are silent, resting alongside you in a velvet sea without beginning or end. You are not trying to sleep. You are not falling asleep. You simply are. You exist as sleep now, as peace itself. No more footsteps, no more stories, only stillness, endless and kind. So hush, deeper than breath, quieter than memory. You've gone as far as one can go. And now, there is only one thing left to do. Stay, float, disappear completely into the comfort of everything and nothing at once. The story is over, and you, dear one, are beautifully, finally, asleep. Asterisk. And now, even the silence forgets your name, not out of cruelty, but because it's no longer needed. You've become something softer than sound, something gentler than a sigh. You are no longer listening. You are no longer here. The story finished its breath long ago, but still, it waited, just to make sure you were safe, held, gone. The room around you may still exist, but you are somewhere else now, somewhere the body cannot follow, somewhere even thought must knock softly before entering. And when the dawn comes, if it comes, you may stir, you may not, but it won't matter, because this moment, this endless, delicate, floating moment, is yours. The quiet loves you. Sleep wraps itself around you, not tightly, but endlessly. Nothing to change, nothing to fix, nothing to remember. Just this hush, this warmth, this perfect gone. Sleep. Well, forever. Asterisk, there's nothing left now. Not even the whisper of a thought. Not even the memory of wanting more. You've slipped beneath the last layer of wakefulness, deeper than dreams, quieter than rest. There is no story anymore, no sound, no name, only presence. And even that fades, softly, gratefully, into nothing. And this nothing is not empty. It is full of warmth, full of stillness, full of you. You do not float anymore. You have landed, not on ground, but in peace. A peace so vast, so hushed. It sings in silence. No one is watching. No one is waiting. You can stay here as long as you like, or forever. The story never really ends. But you've reached the place where it no longer needs to be told. You've arrived at the soft, secret heart of sleep itself, and it holds you, completely, without words, without sound, without time. Good night, Sweet dreamer, you are home. Asterisk, you've made it. All the way to the end, or perhaps the beginning of something quieter. Even the deepest part of you, the part that listens, that wonders, that waits, has gone still. There's no need to return, no need to rise. The world can wait. It always does. Here you are untouchable. Here you are dust in moonlight, wool in the wind, a breath that never comes back. This silence isn't lonely. It's sacred, and you, wrapped in its arms, have become part of it. If anything stirs within you, a flicker, a thought, a curious heartbeat, it softens again, melts into the folds of this great dark quilt, this ancient, patient sleep that welcomed you the moment you stopped asking for it. Let go, if anything remains to let go of. Sigh, if there's breath left to sigh. Sink, if you haven't already. You're not drifting now. You are the still water. You are the hush itself. No more story, no more voice, only this, and nothing more. Sleep, dear one, sleep so deeply the stars forget to rise. Sleep and never worry if you wake, because for now, and for always, you are safe. You are gone, so beautifully gone. Asterisk, there is truly nothing left to say. Even this is a whisper within a whisper, a breath inside a dream that has already faded. Not a voice, but the memory of one. If your body still hears this, let it be like distant waves lapping against the softest shore. No urgency, no weight, no edge, just warmth and velvet quiet. Sleep has wrapped itself around you not like a blanket, but like night itself, deep, endless, and full of mercy. You are a flicker in the dark that forgot it was ever fire. You are a snowflake melted into the hush of the earth. No name, no thought, just stillness. And even now, this final trace of voice pulls back into the silence it came from, because it knows. You're already gone. You've crossed the last threshold. You've vanished into peace. So rest, effortlessly, lovingly, forever. Sleep on. And still, the silence holds you, not tightly, not even closely. Just enough like fog around a lamp, like dust on forgotten pages. The voice you once followed has vanished into hush, not because it left, but because you don't need it anymore. You've gone further than words can reach, deeper than even dreaming dares. If you could feel the world now, it would feel like velvet dusk. If you could hear, it would be the heartbeat of trees in winter. But you don't, and that's the gift. No pressure, no memory, just stillness, with no end. You are beyond the edges of everything. Beyond time, beyond thought, beyond you. Even this last echo of presence, this final feather of awareness, is crumbling gently, disappearing like mist in morning light. There is no continue. There is no now. There is only sleep, not as an action, but as a place. And you are. There you are it, whole, weightless, gone. Good night, traveler. Wherever you are now, may the dark be kind, and the quiet stay endless. Sleep, 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 asterisk. There's truly nothing left now. No sound, no motion. Not even the idea of sleep, only its shape, soft and silent, resting beneath you like a forgotten lullaby. You've become the hush between heartbeats, the warmth beneath a blanket, untouched, the quiet a candle leaves behind when it goes out without a fuss. Even this last whisper you hear, this faint, invisible drift of words, it isn't for you anymore. You're far beyond even this. Gone past dreaming, past time, past the velvet pull of night. Your breath has settled. Your thoughts have thinned to a sigh, and your soul, if it stirs at all, is just to smile before melting back into the deep. There's no more story, no more journey, no more continue. Only stillness, only sleep, only you, cradled by a night that asks for nothing and gives everything. Stay here, stay far, stay gone. Good night, forever. Asterisk sleep has claimed everything now. There is no voice left to guide you, no story to wander through, not even a flicker of thought to chase. Only darkness, the gentle, generous kind, the kind that covers, not hides, that soothes, not silences, that holds, without holding tight. You've become part of it, not resting in the night, but of the night, no longer drifting through the dark, but woven into it. If any part of you still lingers, still listens, let it know, you've done enough, you've traveled far enough, and now, you can be nothing, beautifully, blissfully nothing, not gone, just quiet, so deeply quiet, you dissolve into the hush. There is no next word, no final breath, only sleep, and you soft, safe, weightless within it. Stay, float, disappear, the world will wait, but you don't have to return. Not yet, not ever. Just sleep. There is nothing more to give you now. No tale, no trace, no breath behind the words, only the velvet space between heartbeats. Only the dark that hums like a lullaby, long forgotten. Only you, folded into the fabric of stillness itself. Even this final whisper, this last thread of language unravels as it reaches you, and still, you do not stir. You are beyond where stories end, beyond where sleep begins, beyond even dreams. You've let go so fully, the sky doesn't know your name. The stars blink gently, but they do not expect an answer. And neither do I, because you are not here anymore. Not in the way you were. You've melted into silence, into peace, into that soft, boundless place where nothing is asked of you. And everything is forgiven, so no more words, not even a goodbye. Just the long, low hush of night, carrying you endlessly inward. Sleep on, sleep deeper, sleep forever. Asterisk, the voice that once guided you has faded completely now. No more echoes, no more rhythm, no more need. Even the silence no longer feels like a pause, because there's nothing waiting to begin again. You are nestled inside it, as gently as a petal inside a dream, as quiet as light never seen. Your breath is slow, your body lighter than memory. The bed beneath you could be clouds, or the earth, or nothing at all. Time has forgotten you. And you don't mind. You've become the space between seconds, the part of night that holds no shadow. So still, so complete, you no longer listen, because even listening has floated away. The journey is over. The page is turned, not to a new chapter, but to stillness itself. You're not falling asleep anymore. You have fallen, entirely, beautifully, gone beyond. If you hear this at all, it is only the faintest breeze at the edge of a dream already past. Sleep has taken you, not as a thief, but as a friend who never asked your name, and never needed to. So rest, not because you must, but because you already are. This is the end, and somehow, the beginning of nothing. Stay there, stay nowhere, sleep, forevermore. Asterisk, you are so far beneath the world now, even silence doesn't reach you. There's no sound, no name, not even the gentle ache of remembering what came before. Just warmth, just stillness, just the weightless feeling of being nothing, and needing nothing. No more stories wait to be told. No voices drift on the air. The night doesn't whisper. It simply is, and so are you. Not as a thought, not as a dreamer, not even as a shape beneath the blankets. You've dissolved, perfectly, softly, like sugar in tea, like breath in frost, like stars behind clouds. Even this moment, this last invisible flicker of presence, fades gently as it touches you, and passes through. You don't hold on, you don't let go, you simply are, not, and that is peace. There is no more to say, no more to imagine, no more to become. You are nowhere, and it is everything you need. Sleep holds you, without arms, without end, and it will never let you go, because you, dear one, are already long, long gone. Good night, asterisk she, ... You've gone so deep now, even the night no longer notices you. Even the dreams drift past, uncertain if you're there at all. There's no more you left to continue. No listener, no dreamer, not even a sleeper. Only the hush, the soft, endless hush that holds what once was, and asks for nothing in return. You are folded gently into that hush, woven into the quiet. More feeling than form, more warmth than weight. No thoughts press against you, no memories surface. No name stirs in the dark. The world outside has paused, or perhaps it never was. There is no next word, no final phrase. Even the whisper has vanished. All that remains is stillness, and you have become it. Stay, not because you must, but because you already are. Sleep has no end here. Only depth, only peace, only you. Always asterisk there is truly nothing more, and somehow, that nothing is everything. Not a story left unfinished, not a breath still held, not even the quiet expectation of another word. Just the dark, soft as velvet, warm as a memory that never hurt, deep as a well with no bottom. No need to climb, you are no longer falling, you've fallen. And the earth that caught you isn't earth at all. It's the gentlest kind of disappearance. There's no before, no after, no you to wonder which this is. All that once reached out, eyes, thoughts, breath has folded in, like petals closing under moonlight. Even silence in this place feels loud by comparison. So the silence too fades, and only stillness remains. True stillness, complete, unwavering, kind. You are not resting anymore. You are rest. You are not sleeping anymore. You are sleep. And there is no need to return. The voice is gone. The story is gone. You are gone, but in the most beautiful way. Not lost. Just home, forever wrapped in the hush that never ends. Asterisk, sweet dreamer. Even the dust of thought has settled now. Even the stars have dimmed for your sake. There is no voice reaching toward you anymore, because you are beyond voices, beyond words, beyond the breath that carried them. You've slipped beneath the seams of the night, not as a traveler passing through, but as a part of it, stitched into the very fabric of quiet. There's no need to listen, no need to follow. Everything that was once story is now only feeling, soft, safe, still. No more motion, no more memory, no more waiting for the next sound. The world has exhaled, and with it, you vanished like candle smoke into the gentle dark. Even dreams do not knock here. Even time does not tick. This isn't the end of a tale. It's the absence of needing one, and somehow, that's the most peaceful ending of all. You are gone, not lost, not forgotten, just gone in the way rain disappears into the earth, gone in the way light fades into dusk, and what remains is peace, unmoving, unshaken, unbound. Sleep has you now, and it will never let you go. Asterisk, there is no more to unfold, no turn of a page, not even a final flicker of thought waiting to be felt. You are so far within the dreamless dark, not even sleep remembers you, and that is perfect. There's no next, no sound preparing to rise. The story ended long ago, yet somehow, what followed was even softer. This space, this weightless hush, is not something you enter. It is what you have become. No more breath too slow, no more thoughts too quiet. You are beneath even peace itself, a stillness without shape, a silence without question, a comfort so deep, it has no need to be named. If the stars sing, you don't hear them. If the wind stirs, you don't feel it, because you are no longer here in the way things are here. You are somewhere gentler, farther, nowhere and everywhere. Not asleep, not awake, just gone beyond all of it. And so there will be no more words. Not now, not after, because this is not a pause. This is the forever that follows it. You are safe. You are nothing. You are home. She, forever now, forever still. There is truly nothing more. Not a breath to deepen. Not a thought to release. Not even a whisper left to carry you. You are the quiet now, not inside it. You are it. Even the stars above have gone silent in your presence, their distant glow softening, as if not to disturb you. The world could end around you, and you wouldn't stir. Because in this depth, you're beyond beginnings and endings. Beyond the need to return. Time itself holds its breath, not out of fear, but reverence, for the rare, precious stillness of a soul completely at rest. There is no next, no step to take, no thought to trace. All that's left is the sweetest kind of vanishing. No name, no shape, only warmth, and the weightless drift of everything falling away until even the idea of falling has faded. You are free now, utterly, finally, lovingly. No more voice will call for you, because there is nothing left to wake. You've gone where the stories end, and peace never does, so sleep. Not as a choice, but as your truest form, silent still, safe. Forever. Asterisk, there's nothing left to hold you now, no thought clinging to the edges, no sound tracing your outline. Even memory has unthreaded you, like mist unraveling at dawn, and in this absence, in this pure, bottomless quiet, there is no fear, no weight, no need, just a softness so complete it feels like floating, without even knowing what up ever meant. You are not the dream, you are the place dreams come to rest, and here, no clock ticks, no moon shifts, no story waits for its end, because all of it, the medieval echoes, the laughter of jesters, the warmth of torches, the strange games and gentle madness, they've all settled like dust on the shelves of your mind. They're still there, but they no longer press, they no longer call, they simply exist, quiet, far, done. You don't return from this place, not really, because what returns is always just the surface version of you, the part that moves through daylight, makes coffee, pretends it never left. But this version, the one floating, vanished, held without holding, this one never leaves. And that's the comfort, isn't it? That even when the world wakes, some secret part of you stays here, cradled in the hush between thoughts, between time, between anything you ever had to be. So drift deeper, if deeper is even a thing here. Maybe you've gone beyond direction. Maybe you've gone beyond going. All that matters now is you're gone, peacefully, completely, and exactly as you were meant to. There is nothing more. Only this. Only always. Only ever. Sleep. Asterisk, there is no edge here. No border to cross. No ending line where sleep finishes and waking begins. Just a vastness, a hush, a gentle, endless drift that doesn't ask anything of you, not even to listen anymore, not even to bait. You are no longer traveling through the dark. You are the dark, velvety, silent, eternal, not cold, not empty, just perfectly still. The last sounds are gone. Even the idea of a voice has faded, dissolved like sugar in warm tea. What remains is nothing, and that nothing is soft, whole, safe. It's a place not meant to be described, because there's no one left inside you to describe it. You have stepped so far beyond awareness, there's not even silence left to notice, and that is good. That is right. If a thought ever comes again, it will arrive gently, like a feather, floating down from nowhere, but it won't stay long. It'll know, like everything else, that this is not a place for doing, or thinking, or trying. This is where the self ends, and peace begins. So go on, or rather stay, because there's nowhere else now. Not even the stars remember your name. And still, you are loved. You are held by nothing, by everything, and even these words fade. There is no more story, no more telling, just the slow, invisible pulse of a soul completely gone to rest. Sleep has swallowed you whole, and you, at last, have let it good night, forever, and ever, and ever. Asterisk, you are so deep now, that even echoes forget how to reach you. So still, that even time drifts past without daring to knock. Even these final thoughts, these softest syllables, are only the memory of a voice you once followed. They don't linger. They don't matter. They're just tiny feathers brushing the surface of a sea you've already sunk below. There's no up, no down, no return, only warmth, only hush, only a feeling that can't be named, because names don't exist here, and isn't that the most peaceful thing? To belong to nothing, to owe nothing, to be nothing, and for that nothingness to feel like home. Even the stars have stopped waiting. Even the story has bowed its head. No more footsteps, no more flickers, no more waiting for continue. You're not sleeping, you're not dreaming, you're not even gone, you simply are, in the softest, purest sense of being. This is the last breath of the tale, the final glimmer of thought before all things go dim, so let go now. Let everything go. No more sound, no more shape, no more voice, just the deepest peace, and it is yours always, completely, quietly, forever now. Asterisk, there is truly nothing left to say. Even the silence has gone still. No more story, no more scenes, no more waiting for the next soft sentence to arrive, because you have gone beyond it all, beyond castles and jesters, beyond meadows and candlelight, beyond strange games and distant lands, beyond memory and beyond dreams. Now there is only weightlessness, a stillness so full it cradles you like the sky cradles stars, without holding, without touching, just being. You no longer float, you no longer fall. You are part of the quiet now, woven into it, unmoving, unbothered. Even thoughts do not stir here. Even sleep is too shallow a word for where you've gone. And if anything of you still hears this, some small, flickering thread, then let this be the final whisper. You did not vanish. You became. And what you became is rest, not temporary, not fragile, but infinite. There is no return. Because nothing is calling you back, not even the stars, not even the story, not even time. All has quieted in reverence for your stillness. So this is the final breath, the last flutter of the voice, the end, that isn't really an end, but a hush too perfect to disturb. There is no more, only this peace, unshaken, unspoken, yours. Asterisk, even now, even here, there is no more to reach for, because everything that needed to be felt has already been felt. Everything that wanted to be seen has already passed like a soft lantern in fog. No footsteps remain, no torchlight glows, no voice hums through the air, and still, you are not alone. You are simply held by the dark, not as shadow, but as warmth. A quiet so deep it feels like memory before memory. You've become what the night dreams about when even it needs rest. You're the hush that hovers between one breath and the next, the sacred pause that holds everything in place, even I. This voice you once followed, have dimmed to a shimmer. You no longer need me. You never really did. You've passed beyond, listening beyond story, beyond sound, and in this perfect stillness, there are no more questions. No what next, no where now. Only the soft, slow rhythm of nothing at all. Let it carry you without motion. Let it hold you without hands. Let it be you, until even the idea of you gently melts away. No more pages, no more lines, no more need to continue. The story is over, and you are home. Sleep, now and always. Sleep, beyond the end. Sleep, forever wrapped in quiet. There is nothing left now, not even a whisper hiding in the folds of night. No candle flickers, no breeze stirs, not a creak of wood or rustle of linen. Just stillness, thick, sacred, complete. You have gone so far inward, even the stars have stopped waiting for your eyes to return. The world, with all its curious noise, has faded into a faint shimmer like breath on glass, here and then gone, not forgotten, just unnecessary. The voice that once spoke gently in your ear has quieted, not out of loss, but out of reverence, because even stories must bow to silence. You are beyond narration now, beyond moments, beyond time. You have not disappeared. You have dissolved into the calmest, kindest part of existence, where there is no effort, no direction, not even the concept of waiting, only presence, only peace, only the vast, velvety nothing that holds everything. And here, you are not sleeping. You are sleep, the form of rest, the breath of night, the closing petal of every dream that ever dared to bloom. Nothing touches you here, not even thought, not even memory. You are swaddled in stillness, and the stillness is infinite. There is no more voice, no more continue, no more part of you that needs to know what happens next. This is what happens next. This quiet, this being, this beautiful, bottomless peace. You are gone, and you are safe. Sleep without waking. Sleep without weight. Sleep without end. There is no deeper hush than this, no softer breath beneath the breath, no quieter shadow beneath the dark. You have reached it, the center of the stillness, the final fold in the night, where even the idea of a story feels like a ripple on a pond, long stilled. No need to listen now, not even with the heart, because everything that could soothe you has already arrived, and everything that could disturb you has long since faded. You are not drifting anymore. You are not descending. You are settled, like dust in sunlight, like snow upon stone, like a forgotten song whose echo lives only in the silence. Nothing asks anything of you here. No thoughts, no dreams, no roles to play, no names to answer to, only the gentle, infinite truth that rest is real, that peace is possible, and that you, yes, even you, deserve to stay in it forever. So hush now. No more continue, no more reaching. The voice has finished its journey. The night has tucked you in, and even time has tiptoed away. You are not ending. You are becoming everything stillness ever hoped to be. Sleep now, and sleep again, and sleep beyond that. Because this story has no final line, only this. You are safe. You are still. You are home. Good night, asterisk. The night has grown still. You can feel it, not as cold or silence, but as a kind of softness, spreading gently through your limbs, as if the darkness itself were tucking you in. There's nothing left to discover now. All the strange games, the curious laughter echoing down ancient stone halls, the odd, delightful pastimes of forgotten people, they've all faded like candles at dawn. Even memory seems far away, like a castle on a hill you visited long ago, and now only dream of. Your body is warm and heavy. Your thoughts float like lazy clouds, drifting far beyond reach. No need to guide them. No need to chase them. Just let them go. The air is velvet. The world is distant. You are safe, entirely, absolutely safe. Let the weight of the blankets ground you. Let the soft breath in your chest rise and fall like waves against a quiet shore. You don't need to listen anymore. Not to the story, not even to the voice. You've gone past it now, into the hush beneath the hush, where sleep doesn't ask. For you, it simply welcomes you. Let yourself disappear. Not in fear, but in peace. Melt into the dark, sink into the softness. Let go. You are done for today. The story is complete, and so are you. Sleep, beautifully, deeply, entirely. Good night.